Maya walked slowly into the diner. It was a quiet afternoon. The sun was hot outside, and her boots were dusty from the long road she had traveled. She didn't look dangerous. She didn't speak much. She just wanted a cup of coffee and a little peace. She chose the table in the corner, near the window. Her eyes were calm, her hands steady. She placed a small brown bag beside her. Nothing special, just a notebook, a bottle of water, and a scarf. To the people in that small-town diner, she looked like just another black woman passing through. Poor, tired, maybe homeless. They didn't know the truth, but they were about to find out. Across the room, a man laughed loudly. He wore a suit too shiny for someone in a town this small. His name was Trevor, a local businessman who thought money made him important. He looked at Maya, then at his friends. "She probably can't pay," he said, loud enough for her to hear. "Probably on food stamps, or worse." His friends laughed. The waitress looked uncomfortable but didn't say a word. Maya didn't react. She just stirred her coffee. 1, 2, 3 times. Trevor stood and walked past her table, on purpose. "You know, some people earn their way in life," he said. "You folks always expect handouts." Still, Maya said nothing. She just looked up at him with eyes that made him pause. Not angry, not scared, just sharp, cold, like she could see right through him. Trevor stepped back without meaning to. Then he laughed nervously and walked out. 5 minutes later, 2 police cars pulled up outside the diner. Everyone turned to look. The officers walked in quickly. One pointed at Maya. "Ma'am, can we speak with you outside?" Maya stood slowly. Her voice was calm. "Why?" "We'd received a call about suspicious behavior. We need to check ID," the taller officer said. Some people in the diner nodded. She looked strange when she came in. She didn't talk to anyone. "She's probably hiding something." Maya sighed, reached into her bag, and pulled out a small black wallet. Inside was a card. Plain, clean. She handed it to the officer. He looked at it, then froze. His partner leaned over to read it too. Their faces changed. Eyes wide, mouths tight. Trevor, who had returned to watch the scene, smirked. "Well, arrest her." The officer turned to him slowly. "Sir, sit down." "What? Why?" The officer ignored him. He handed Maya back the wallet with both hands. Careful, respectful now. "Ma'am, we didn't realize." Maya took the card and nodded once. "You never do." She walked past Trevor without looking at him. He grabbed the tall officer by the arm. "What's going on? Who is she?" The officer looked down at Trevor, then whispered something in his ear. Trevor turned pale. He sat down, suddenly quiet. Outside, Maya walked to the edge of the street. The wind blew softly. She pulled her scarf from the bag and tied it around her neck. Her phone buzzed. A message popped up from an unknown number. "You've been seen. Watch your back. They'll come now." Maya didn't look scared. She smiled, just a little. Then she whispered to herself, "They're already too late." Inside the diner, the waitress picked up the bill Maya left. It was paid, full tip, and something else. A coin. An old silver military coin with a small number on it, 291. The waitress held it in her palm, confused. But far away, in a dark government room, a screen lit up. Code 291, active. An old man in a suit stood up slowly. "She's alive," he said. "And she's moving again." The wind blew gently through the town, but something had changed. The name Maya was now a whisper, carried through police radios, military lines, and dark rooms no one could find on a map. But who was she really? No one in that diner knew. Not the waitress, not the officers, not even Trevor, the man who had insulted her. They only saw a quiet woman with brown skin, tired eyes, and strong silence. But Maya was much more than that. Her past was not just a story, it was a secret. 12 years ago, Maya was only 22 when the government found her. She was fast, smart, and fearless, the kind of person who didn't run from danger. She studied it. After passing a secret intelligence test that most people failed, she was invited into something that didn't exist on paper, Unit 291. Not even the president knew all their names. They weren't just spies. They were shadows. They went into places even the military wouldn't dare. And Maya, she was the best of them. Sharp mind, fast hands, heart like steel. Her missions were quiet, but deadly. She stopped bombs before they exploded. She rescued hostages who were already dead on government records. She even saved a senator's daughter from a private warlord in East Africa. But every mission took something from her. Her smile, her sleep, her peace. Still, she never stopped. The mission that changed everything. Then came the last mission. It was supposed to be simple. Stop an illegal weapon deal in a foreign city. In and out. But something went wrong. Someone inside the team had betrayed them. Maya's closest friend, Elijah, was killed in front of her. Another agent disappeared. And Maya, she was left behind. She was captured by people who wanted to break her, use her, or worse, expose her to the world. But Maya didn't break. She escaped using nothing but a spoon, a rope made from cloth, and her own mind. She burned the building down behind her and vanished. The government, not wanting questions, told the world she died during the mission. They erased her records. She was gone. Just like that. Living in the shadows. For the next 8 years, Maya lived in silence. No phone. No job. No real name. She moved from town to town, always watching over her shoulder. She worked odd jobs. Waitress, cleaner, truck driver. She spoke very little. She trusted no one. But she wasn't hiding because she was scared. She was hiding because she was planning. She knew the traitor was still out there, the man who gave her team's location to the enemy. And she knew, one day, he would come for her. Back in the present. After the diner incident, Maya didn't go back to her motel. She knew it wasn't safe anymore. The moment the police scanned her ID and saw 291, alerts were triggered. Somewhere, the wrong people knew she was alive. She walked into a small library and used a public computer. With careful clicks, she entered a code into a hidden government page. Access granted. The screen turned black. Then a list of names appeared. Agents, enemies, traitors. She typed in one name, Agent Dalton Reese. He was the one. The man who smiled in her face years ago, then sold her team for money and power. Maya had been hunting him for a long time. Now she had confirmation. He was still alive. And worse, he was now working inside a government protection unit. High rank, clean record, but dirty hands. The fire inside her. Maya's eyes burned as she stared at his file. So many lies. So many people believed he was a hero. But she knew the truth. And now, she wasn't just running. She was going to end this. A quiet preparation. Maya left the library and returned to her storage unit on the edge of town. Inside was everything she had saved for this day. A black case with old tools. A jacket with a hidden pocket. Maps with red marks on cities. A photo of her old team, the ones who didn't make it. She looked at the photo for a long time. She touched Elijah's face and whispered, "I didn't forget." Then she packed everything carefully. She was ready. But one thing was different now. Before, she fought alone. Now, the town had seen her. And someone, somewhere, had seen that coin she left behind. More people were waking up. The past wasn't going to stay buried anymore. The moment her name popped up in the system, alarms rang in places most people didn't know existed. A small blinking red light appeared on a monitor in a secret building far from the small town Maya had just left. A man in a black suit sat quietly in front of it. No expression, no panic, just one whisper. "She's alive." The Shadow Bureau. In the old days, the CIA had full control over secret agents like Maya. But after that final mission went wrong, everything changed. Some retired agents went rogue. Others formed secret groups for money and power. They used what they knew, skills, weapons, systems, and became ghosts. One of those ghosts was Dalton Reese. He was once Maya's teammate. He smiled beside her in photos. He shared food with her on long missions. He even saved her life once. But it was all fake. Dalton had sold their team to a foreign group for millions. He thought Maya died in that fire years ago. Now, seeing her name on that screen made his blood turn cold. The order. Dalton didn't waste time. He stood in a dark room, staring at a wall filled with faces. Agents, soldiers, killers for hire. He picked up a red marker and circled one name. Kane. Kane was not a man who asked questions. He didn't care about rules. He was fast, brutal, and never failed. Dalton called him with just one line. "She's alive. You know who. Find her. End it." Back in the town, Maya walked slowly through the next town, small backpack on her shoulders. She had changed clothes, wore glasses now, hair tied up tight. But her eyes never stopped moving. She felt it in her bones. Someone was watching. Not the police, not the locals, but someone trained, just like her. She entered a small hardware store, pretending to shop. But really, she was watching reflections, counting steps, listening to doors. And then she saw him. Tall, cold eyes, hands too still. Kane. She didn't know his name, but she knew his type. She didn't panic. Instead, she picked up a small mirror and smiled at the shopkeeper. "Nice mirror. I'll take it." Kane didn't follow her yet. He was waiting, watching, tracking. Maya walked outside, crossed the street, and disappeared into an alley. By the time Kane followed, she was gone. Only the mirror was left behind, hanging on the fence. It reflected his own face back at him. The game begins. Maya had learned long ago that to beat enemies like Kane, she didn't need to fight first. She needed to outthink them. She hacked into an old satellite link through a signal tower on the town's edge. With quick hands, she traced the last call made from that ghost system, a network used only by ex-agents. The call had come from Dalton. Now it was clear. Dalton had found her, and he had sent Kane. But what Dalton didn't know was this. Maya was hunting him too. New plan, new target. Maya took out a folded paper map. Old school, not digital. She circled 3 locations: a bunker in Texas, a weapons storage in Nevada, a private airport outside Colorado, all connected to Dalton's secret movements. She whispered to herself, one step at a time, no more running. But she knew Kane was close. She had only a short time before he made his move. The snake strikes. That night, as Maya stayed in an abandoned cabin deep in the woods, she heard the first noise, a twig snapping. Then silence. She turned off her lamp and pulled a knife from her boot. No fear, just focus. Kane entered through the back, quiet, like a shadow. He moved fast, but Maya was faster. They fought in silence. Fists, knives, dirt flying everywhere. He was strong, but she was smart. She used a loose wire to shock him, just enough to make him fall. She didn't kill him. She looked him in the eye and said just one thing. "Tell Dalton I remember everything." Then she disappeared into the night. Kane lay in the dirt, gasping for air, realizing something no one told him. She wasn't the same Maya from the old files. She was sharper, stronger. And this time, she had nothing to lose. The sun rose slowly over the quiet town. People opened shops. Kids walked to school. Life felt normal. But something was coming. Something they didn't see. something Maya knew very well. And she couldn't walk away. Not this time. The town that misjudged her. Only 2 days ago, they had laughed at her, judged her by the color of her skin, called her poor, weak, suspicious. But now Maya stood in the shadows, watching over them. She didn't care about their looks anymore. She had seen worse hate, deeper lies, and colder hearts in other parts of the world. What she cared about now was who was coming. Dalton didn't just send Cain. That was only a warning. The real storm was on the way. A signal traced. Maya sat in the back room of a small closed-down auto shop. Wires and gadgets covered the table. She had tapped into a hidden signal. A satellite ping, bouncing from Colorado to this exact town. Dalton was sending a team. Not police, not soldiers, but cleaners, men who removed problems, erased people, burned everything behind. They were planning to hit the town that night. Why? Because someone in the diner had picked up the coin Maya left. A little silver military coin with the number 291. And they had taken a photo, posted it online. It went viral for a moment before being deleted, but that was enough. Now Dalton believed the town knew too much, so he was going to erase it. Maya's choice. Maya could have left. She had the skills to disappear again. But she remembered the waitress. She remembered the young girl who smiled at her when others looked away. She remembered the small acts of kindness, even in the middle of the hate. She couldn't let these people die. Not because of her. Not again. So Maya made a choice. For the first time in years, she stepped out of the shadows. The warning. She returned to the same diner. The waitress froze when she saw her. "Maya," she whispered. Maya nodded. "We don't have much time." She quickly explained that dangerous people were coming, that the town would be destroyed if they didn't act fast. The waitress hesitated. "Why would they come for us?" Maya held up the coin. "Because of this, and because of me." The room went silent. Some people still didn't trust her, but others listened. Preparing for war. That day, Maya worked fast. She taught the local mechanic how to build smoke traps. She helped the grocery store owner set up escape tunnels through the basement. She showed the waitress how to use a flare gun, only if it got bad. "I don't want anyone to fight," Maya said. "I just want you to survive." She wired alarms, blocked roads, and mapped every path in and out of town. They didn't have guns. They didn't have soldiers, but they had Maya. And that was enough. The night falls. Darkness came slowly. Maya stood on the diner roof, watching the road. Then they came. 3 black SUVs. No plates. No headlights. They stopped just outside town. 6 men stepped out, all dressed the same. No badges. No names. Just clean, silent killers. Maya whispered into her small radio. "They're here. Stay down." She moved like smoke, down the fire escape, through the alley, around the back. She planted noise bombs to distract them. She used mirrors to confuse them. She turned her quiet town into a maze. But they were trained, and they were hunting her. The fight begins. One of the men entered the bakery. Boom! A paint trap exploded, blinding him. Another tried to enter the school, only to fall into a net Maya had set up. 2 more chased a shadow into the woods, but the shadow was just a moving coat tied to a branch. Maya was everywhere. She fought one man behind the church. He was strong, but she used his own weight against him. He didn't get up again. The others started to panic. "This isn't a town," one of them whispered. "It's a trap." The flare. Then suddenly, a loud explosion. One of the buildings had caught fire. It wasn't Maya's doing. Someone had made a mistake. The waitress screamed as smoke filled the diner. Maya rushed in, helped people out, carried an old man on her back. The cleaners saw the chance and attacked. Gunshots, screams, panic. But the flare gun fired, bright and high. The townspeople began to run, and Maya stayed behind. One woman against them all. With a broken stick and a bleeding arm, Maya stood in front of the town's exit. The last two men stood across from her. "You don't scare us," one of them said. Maya smiled, even with blood on her face. "I don't have to scare you," she whispered. "I just have to stop you." And she did. She fought them both. And when it was over, she was still standing. Dawn. By morning, the fire was out. The town was shaken, but alive. People looked at Maya differently now. Not as a stranger, not as a suspect, but as a protector. One child walked up to her, holding the silver coin. "Are you a hero?" he asked. Maya looked at the coin, then at the people, then at the sky. "No," she said softly. "I'm just someone who's tired of running." The town was quiet again. Smoke had faded. People were patching windows and sweeping broken glass. The worst had passed, for now. But Maya knew it wasn't over. Dalton wasn't the kind of man who gave up. He was the kind who watched, waited, and then struck when it hurt most. So she had to move again. This time, not to hide, but to end it. An old locker key. While packing her small bag in the motel room, Maya felt something in the bottom of her shoe, a strange hard piece. She stopped. She turned the shoe upside down, and out came a small metal key with a faded tag. Locker 87, Oak Valley Bus Station. Her heart skipped a beat. That was from years ago. Before the betrayal. Before she disappeared. It was from the day her team fell apart, when they all thought she was dead. She had hidden this key in case she ever needed answers, or proof. Now was the time. Oak Valley Station. 2 hours later, she arrived at the dusty, half-broken-down bus station. Most lockers were rusted shut, but number 87 opened with a soft click. Inside, wrapped in a faded scarf, was a small black journal, a USB drive, and an old photo. Maya's fingers trembled. The photo showed 5 people, her old team, smiling, arms around each other. Before the lies, she flipped it over. One name was circled in red ink. Agent Royce Daniels. Maya stepped back. Royce had been her mentor, the one who trained her, the one who disappeared right before Dalton turned. She thought he was dead. But now, a thought entered her mind. What if he wasn't? The USB drive. That night, Maya sat in a quiet library and opened the USB on an old public computer. It was full of surveillance videos, documents, and old mission logs. One file caught her eye. Subject: Maya V. Targeted termination order. She opened it. Her stomach dropped. The file was a CIA internal order, signed by Dalton, marking her as a threat. The reason? She discovered corruption at the top. Immediate silence required. Maya's hand shook. She finally understood. She had been marked not because she failed, but because she knew too much. She looked through more files, until she found a recording. Royce's voice. "If you're seeing this, it means I failed. They're turning on their own. Dalton's selling secrets. I tried to stop him, but I'm not enough. Maya, if you're alive, find me. I've gone dark, but I'm watching." A pause. Then, "And Maya, be careful. There's someone else, someone helping Dalton. Someone close. The friend who betrayed." Maya's thoughts ran wild. Who else could it be? She remembered her old friend, Lana. They were like sisters, trained together, laughed together, protected each other. But Lana had vanished just before Maya's mission went bad. What if it wasn't just Dalton? What if Lana helped frame her too? Maya's chest felt tight. It wasn't just about survival anymore. This was personal. The trap. Using an encrypted channel, Maya sent a message only someone from the old team would understand. It was a phrase Royce used to say. The past is never dead, just hidden. She posted it in a private ex-agent forum, under a fake name. 2 hours later, she got a reply. A single word, Denver, and an address. It was a trap. She knew it, but she had to go. Denver Showdown. The address led her to an old warehouse outside the city. She entered quietly. No lights, just echoes. Then, a familiar voice from the shadows. You should have stayed dead, Maya. Lana stepped out. Same face, same eyes. But now, they looked colder. Why? Maya asked, her voice cracking. Lana sighed. I got tired of being second. You were always the golden one. They listened to you. You had power. I was invisible. Maya's fists tightened. So you sold me. Lana nodded. Dalton promised freedom, money, a new life. A long silence passed between them. Then, the sound of a gun cocking. Lana pointed it at Maya. I have orders. You're still a loose end. Fight between sisters. Maya didn't beg. She didn't flinch. She moved fast. The gun fired, missed. They clashed hard, hand to hand. Both trained the same. Punches, kicks, tears. You were my sister, Maya shouted, blocking a blow. Lana screamed, then you should have stayed down. In the end, Maya didn't kill her. She tied Lana up, left her for the authorities, with all the proof from the USB drive pinned to her chest. One more call. Before leaving, Maya made one last encrypted call. This time, to a hidden line. 3 rings, then silence. Then, a deep voice she hadn't heard in years. Maya, her eyes filled with tears. Royce, I need you. His voice was calm, proud, but cautious. I knew you'd make it. Meet me at Echo Point. It's time we end this. The road to Echo Point was long, silent, and full of memories. Maya hadn't seen Royce Daniels in years. He trained her, trusted her, and then vanished. Now, after everything, betrayal, lies, and blood, he was the last piece left in the puzzle. And maybe the only person who still believed in her. Echo Point. The old watchtower at Echo Point stood tall over the hills. No cameras, no signals. It was the one place the agency never touched. Royce picked it for a reason. When Maya arrived, it was almost sunset. Orange light poured across the sky. She stepped carefully, eyes scanning every shadow. Then, from behind a wooden door, came the soft sound of a voice. Still fast on your feet. Maya turned. There he was, older, beard rough, eyes tired, but still sharp. Royce. She stared for a long moment. You're real, she said. Royce gave a small smile. So are you. Truth in pieces. Inside the tower, Royce lit a small lantern. He laid out old files, maps and photos, all of it connected, like a web. Maya looked down. Her photo. Her team. Dalton. Lana. Even police officers and politicians. What is this? She asked. Royce pointed to a folder. Operation Glassroom. It was never about you, Maya. You were just in the way. He explained everything. Dalton had been selling intelligence to outside forces, terrorists, corrupt governments, even criminal networks. To cover his tracks, he needed to erase every agent who knew the truth. Maya had found a coded message during a mission, by accident, and that made her a threat. So he used Lana, set up a fake mission, and framed Maya. Why Royce disappeared? Maya's hands shook as she listened. You knew? She asked. Royce nodded. I found out too late. They came for me too. I faked my death. He lifted his shirt, revealing a long scar across his ribs. They missed my heart by an inch. For a moment, Maya sat in silence. So many years she had hated herself, questioned her mind, doubted her worth. When all along, it wasn't her fault. It was a setup. Guilt and grace. I should have protected you, Royce said softly. Maya looked at him, pain in her voice. You trained me to be strong, but I wasn't ready for this. Royce placed a hand on her shoulder. You were never supposed to fight this alone. Tears welled in Maya's eyes, but she held them back. I don't want revenge, she whispered. I want peace. Royce nodded. Then we end this. The final evidence. Royce pulled out a small hard drive. This, he said, contains the full data. Every deal Dalton made. Every person he paid. Every life he destroyed. Maya stared at it. With this, we take him down. Royce gave her a look. But once you do this, Maya, there's no going back. He'll come with everything. Maya nodded. I'm not running anymore. A dangerous call. Maya and Royce made a plan. She would leak the files to the press, to trusted news outlets, in 3 days. But first, she made a call. To Dalton. It was risky, but she wanted him to hear her voice, to know she was still alive, and he had failed. Dalton answered on the 3rd ring. Well, well, look who found her voice again. You're done, Dalton, Maya said coldly. I have the files. The truth. It's over. Dalton chuckled. You think a few old files will stop me? No, she replied. But the whole world will. A pause. Then Dalton's voice turned dark. I'm coming for you. Maya smiled. Good. I'll be waiting. Click. Royce's warning. That night, as they set up safe lines and timed backups, Royce looked at Maya. There's one more thing. He handed her a photo, a face she didn't recognize. This man is the cleaner of cleaners, Dalton's last card. If he comes, it means Dalton's desperate. What's his name? Maya asked. Royce said one word. Silas. A chill ran down Maya's spine. He doesn't talk, doesn't miss, and never leaves a witness. Royce looked serious. If he finds us before the files go out, we're dead. A silent sign. The next morning, Maya woke up early. The wind was quiet, the air heavy. She stepped outside the tower and froze. On the ground, placed neatly at the door, was a single black feather. Royce stepped beside her. He's here, Maya whispered. Royce just nodded. No more running. Maya walked back inside. Checked her gun, checked her gear, checked her heart. She turned to Royce. If this is the end. Royce smiled softly. It's not the end. It's the start. Maya took a deep breath. The truth was ready. Dalton was scared. And Silas was coming. The forest around Echo Point was no longer quiet. Maya could feel it in her bones, like a cold breath on her neck. Something evil was moving closer. Something silent. Silas, a man no one had seen and lived to describe. He didn't leave bullets. He left silence. And now, he was hunting her. A game of shadows. Royce had set up traps around the tower. Small alarms. Hidden wires. They waited all day. Nothing. But when night came, the first alarm snapped. A soft click in the woods. Royce and Maya froze. He's here, Royce whispered, loading his weapon. Maya moved to the window. No lights. No footsteps. Just shadows. Then, another sound. This time inside. They weren't alone anymore. The ambush. Suddenly, glass shattered. A smoke bomb rolled into the room. Thick, white fog filled their lungs. Maya coughed, trying to see. A figure moved through the smoke. Fast, sharp, ghost-like. Silas. Royce fired. Missed. Maya dropped behind a table, pulled her knife. A second later, Silas landed behind Royce and tackled him to the ground. They struggled. Blades clashed. Royce yelled, "Run, Maya. Go." But she didn't run. She charged. Her shoulder slammed into Silas. knocking him off Royce. They all rolled to the floor. Silas stood, silent as always. He looked at her, calm, deadly. Then he ran. The chase begins. Maya and Royce didn't wait. They grabbed the files, packed quickly, and ran down the mountain path. Silas wouldn't stop. But Maya knew if they could get to the city, upload the files, and expose Dalton, the game would change. The world would finally see the truth. Race against time. Royce's old car barely worked, but it roared to life. They drove fast. Dirt roads, back routes, trying to stay unseen. In the rearview mirror, Maya spotted something. A motorcycle. Black. No lights. He was following. Silas. Maya took the wheel. Royce loaded a flare gun. As Silas got closer, Royce turned and fired. Boom. A flash of red light. The motorcycle swerved, crashed into a ditch and rolled. Smoke rose, but there was no body. Silas had vanished again. Uploading the truth. By morning, they reached a friend's basement in the city, a secret tech spot Maya once used. They connected the hard drive to a protected server. Thousands of files started uploading. Videos, voice logs, names, locations. One by one. Maya stared at the screen. Almost there, she whispered. Royce nodded. Once they're live, there's no turning back. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Then, darkness. The power was cut. Silas strikes again. From the shadows, a hand grabbed Royce and threw him into a wall. Silas stepped in. No gun, just a knife. Maya screamed, swinging the metal pipe. He dodged, sliced at her arm. A shallow cut. She kicked back hard, hitting his leg. Royce grabbed a taser from the shelf and shocked Silas in the neck. The man dropped, shaking, twitching, but not dead. They tied him up. His eyes burned with hatred, still silent, still watching. Truth goes live. With backup power, the upload restarted. This time, it completed. 100%. Maya sent it to 5 major news outlets, human rights groups, and 3 safe contacts in the agency. It was done. Dalton's crimes were out in the open. All of them. The fallout begins. Within hours, the news exploded. High-level CIA officer linked to global corruption. Maya V. was framed. Truth uncovered after years in hiding. Leaked files showed dirty deals, murders, and inside betrayals. The public turned. Protests started. Dalton's face was everywhere. He couldn't hide. But Maya knew he wouldn't go down quietly. One final call. Dalton called that night. His voice was full of rage, but calm. "You made me a monster in front of the world." "No," Maya said. "You did that yourself. You ruined everything. I gave the truth to the people." A long pause. Then he said something Maya never expected. "You think this ends with me?" The line went dead. The U.S. forces move in. The next morning, Royce and Maya got word. Dalton had gone into hiding. The agency was disowning him. Arrests were being made. But no one could find where Dalton had vanished to. Peace. For now. For the first time in years, Maya stood under the sun without hiding. She breathed fresh air. No fear, no lies. The world now knew the truth. But she also knew Dalton wasn't finished. Somewhere he was planning something. But she was ready. And she wasn't alone anymore. The world had changed. Maya's name was no longer hidden. Her story had been told on every screen, in every newspaper, and across every country. People now knew the truth, the lies, the betrayal. But one thing hadn't changed. Dalton was still out there. And Maya knew deep in her heart, the war wasn't over yet. The trap is set. Maya and Royce had been waiting in a safe house outside Washington, D.C. for 3 days. They weren't hiding anymore. They were hunting. They had a plan. Royce leaked false information online. saying Maya was going to testify in court with even more evidence. He knew Dalton couldn't resist. The man had money, power, and pride. But most of all, he had fear. And men like Dalton, they always came back to clean up their own mess. The ghost appears. On the fourth night, Maya's encrypted phone buzzed. A single message. Meet me. No agents. No Royce. Just you, or your story ends here. It was sent from a private channel only a few knew. Dalton. Royce was against it. It's a trap, he warned. Maya nodded. I know. But I have to finish this. The final meeting. She went alone, dressed in black, no weapons, just a recorder in her pocket and her heart full of fire. The meeting spot was an abandoned church in the middle of nowhere. Silent, dark, broken windows let the moonlight shine through. Inside, Dalton waited. He stood at the altar, calm, clean, dressed like a man who hadn't lost anything. But his eyes, they told a different story. Cold, angry, hollow. The last conversation. I never thought you'd come alone, he said. I wanted you to look me in the eye, Maya replied. Dalton walked slowly down the steps. You ruined my life. No, you ruined lives for years. You just finally got caught. He laughed bitterly. You think the world cares. They'll forget in weeks. They always do. Maya didn't blink. Maybe. But not all of them. Some will remember. And that's enough. Dalton stepped closer. You think you've won. I didn't come to win. I came to end it. Gunpoint. Dalton pulled a gun from his coat. He pointed it at her. Maya didn't move. Shoot me, she said quietly. But it won't change the truth. Dalton's hand shook, just a little. You think I won't? I think you already lost. For a second, it seemed he might pull the trigger. But then, bang! A loud shot echoed, but not from Dalton's gun. Royce. From the church balcony. Dalton fell to the floor. A wound in his shoulder. Screaming. Bleeding. Justice arrives. Minutes later, black cars pulled up. Federal agents stormed in. Guns ready. Dalton was arrested, bleeding, cursing, but alive. Maya watched as they dragged him away. This time, it was real. There were no more secrets to hide behind. Maya's choice. Outside the church, Royce asked quietly. You had a chance to kill him. Why didn't you? Maya looked at the stars. I could have, but then I'd be like him. She smiled gently. And I want peace, Royce, not revenge. The speech that moved the nation. 1 week later, Maya stood on stage. Not as a spy, not as a fugitive, not as a victim, but as a truth teller, a voice for others who had been used, silenced, or framed. She spoke in front of thousands, and millions watched online. Her voice was steady, her words simple. I was framed by my own people. I was hunted for telling the truth. But I survived, and I came back to finish what they started. This story is not just about me. It's about anyone who's ever been told they're nothing, but still stood up, still fought back, and still believed in justice. A new beginning. Months passed. Dalton was sentenced to life in prison. Many others were arrested. The agency cleaned house. Royce retired peacefully. And Maya, she disappeared again, this time by choice. Not to hide, but to live. She moved to a quiet town overseas, taught children, planted flowers, wrote stories. Sometimes she'd walk by the ocean alone, smile at the wind, and remember the girl she used to be.